At 8:47 p.m., the plate lands on the dinner table a little harder than anyone meant it to. Not thrown. Not dramatic. Just loud enough for everyone to notice and pretend they didn't. Someone shifts in their chair. Someone reaches for a glass. The forks touch the plates, and somehow that tiny sound fills the whole kitchen. Why can one small apology feel finished for the person saying it, while the hurt keeps sitting there for the person who received it? This is the strange weight difference between sorry and what it landed on. In this video, I'll slow down what happens in moments like this, why the apology can feel so light, and why the hurt can stay heavy long after the room gets quiet again. A sorry can feel lighter than the hurt it caused because the word often ends the speaker's part of the moment before it reaches the meaning that's settled inside the other person. On the outside, it looks simple. Someone says something sharp. Someone notices the silence. Then they say, "I'm sorry." Maybe their voice is low. Maybe they mean it. Maybe they feel bad as soon as they say it. But inside the other person, the hurt may not be sitting in the exact words. It may be sitting in what the words seem to reveal. That they were dismissed. That their care went unseen. That their patience was treated like something automatic. That peace in the house was being kept mostly by one person. So when the apology arrives, it touches the event, but not the meaning. The person who caused the hurt may feel a small release. They named it. They softened their tone. They offered the repair they knew how to offer. In their body, the pressure drops a little. But the person who was hurt may still be holding the whole room. The plate. The yellow light. The cooled food. The way everyone suddenly became busy with tiny tasks. The silence that had shape. The way the kitchen seemed to keep replaying what nobody said clearly. That is why sorry can sound small. Not because the word is useless. Not because the person saying it means nothing. But because hurt often has more layers than the moment that caused it. One common reason is that an apology often names the action, while the hurt is connected to a pattern. A person might say, "I'm sorry I snapped," and they may be telling the truth about that one moment. But the other person may be hearing a longer story, how often they swallow their own response, how often they smooth the table back into peace, how often they carry the mood of the room without anyone seeing it. So the apology answers the sharp sentence, but not the quiet history behind it. Like wiping the spill while leaving the stain underneath. That can make the word feel light, even when it is sincere. Sometimes, it comes from the way people rush toward peace because silence feels unsafe. At a dinner table, the quiet after conflict can feel heavier than the conflict itself, so someone reaches for sorry like turning down the volume. They may not be ready to understand the hurt yet, they may only want the room to stop feeling tense. So the apology becomes a door that closes quickly, like saying, "Can we be okay now?" While the other person is still standing inside what just happened. When peace arrives too fast, it can feel more like avoidance than care. There's also a quieter reason. The person who was hurt may be trying to decide what the moment means about their place in the relationship. Maybe the words themselves were not huge. Maybe the plate was not slammed that hard. Maybe anyone watching from outside would say it was a normal family moment, the kind people forget after dinner. But inside, the question may become, is this how my effort is seen? Or am I only noticed when I stop keeping things calm? A small incident can feel heavy when it touches a fear that has been sitting there for a long time. This is why the hurt can feel almost embarrassing to explain. You might think, it was just one comment. Or, it was just a plate. Or, they already said sorry. And yet your body stays tight. You keep wiping the counter even though it is already clean. You open the fridge and close it again. You carry a bowl to the sink slowly, because doing something with your hands feels easier than saying what is still moving through you. The apology may be sitting on the table, but the hurt is still walking around the kitchen. And in many homes, this is where people miss each other. One person feels punished by the silence after they apologized. The other person feels rushed by the apology before they were understood. Both people may be tired. Both may want the room to soften. But they are not standing in the same part of the moment. The person saying sorry may be standing at the end. "I regret it. I said it. I want this to pass." The person who was hurt may still be at the beginning. "Something in that moment showed me how alone I can feel here." That gap is where resentment can grow quietly. Not loud resentment. Not the kind that makes speeches. The quiet kind that folds napkins, packs leftovers, turns off the stove, and says, "It's fine," because explaining the full weight feels too hard. It is 9:13 p.m. in a small kitchen, and the meal is mostly over. One person is scraping rice from a plate into the trash. The other is rinsing a pan that does not even seem dirty yet. The apology happened a few minutes ago, soft and quick, almost swallowed by the sound of the faucet. But the person at the sink feels a strange heaviness in their chest, not exactly anger, not exactly sadness, more like the feeling of being unseen while still doing the work of keeping the house gentle. They want to say, "I know you said sorry, but I'm still hurt," yet the words feel too large for the room. If you've been there, you're not strange. You might know someone who lives like this. This is what hurt can look like when it does not explode. It stays in the ordinary movements and makes every small sound feel louder. The hard part is that sorry often asks for a response. The person who hears it may feel pressure to accept it quickly, especially if the other person looks ashamed or tired. They may feel like the kind thing is to make the moment easier for everyone else. So they say, "It's okay," before it is okay. And once those words come out, the hurt loses its place to stand. That can make a person feel strangely alone. Not because nobody apologized, but because the apology almost erased their right to still feel something. There is a quiet difference between forgiving the person and being ready to feel close again. Those two things can move at different speeds. The heart may believe the apology and still not feel safe enough to relax. The mind may understand the reason and still remember the tone. That does not make the hurt dramatic. It makes it human. One small way to stay honest in a moment like this is to separate the apology from the impact. Instead of forcing the whole thing into "it's fine," there can be a softer sentence that leaves room for both sides. "I hear you saying sorry, and I'm still feeling it." That kind of sentence does not attack. It does not turn the moment into a trial. It simply keeps the hurt from being pushed out of the room before it has been named. Sometimes the smallest honest sentence can prevent a larger silence later. Another gentle way is to name the meaning, not just the event. The event may be, "You snapped at me at dinner." But the meaning may be, "I felt like my effort did not matter." That difference matters because people often argue over the size of the event, while the hurt is living somewhere underneath. When you can find the meaning, even quietly inside yourself, the hurt becomes less blurry. It may still be heavy, but it is no longer just a fog in the kitchen. It has a shape. And there's something else here that is easy to miss. A good apology is not only a word. It is attention. Sometimes the lighter apology becomes heavier in a good way when the person stays present after saying it. When they do not rush the room back to normal. When they can hear, "I'm still hurt," without making the other person comfort them. When they understand that repair may happen in the next 5 minutes, or the next morning, or in the way they handle the same pressure next time. A sorry becomes meaningful when it does not demand that the hurt disappear on schedule. It becomes less like a receipt and more like a hand placed carefully near the broken place. Not every moment can be talked through perfectly. Some families do not speak easily. Some people learn to leave the room before feelings got too clear. Some homes are full of people who care about each other, but still do not know how to stay soft when shame enters the room. So the goal is not a perfect conversation. It may be as small as not calling the hurt nothing. It may be as small as pausing before saying, "It's okay." It may be as small as letting the apology land, while also letting the truth remain, "Something still aches." That truth can be quiet without being cruel. This is for people who keep the house calm while their own chest carries the noise. If sorry has ever felt too light, it may be because you were not only reacting to the word or the plate or the tone. You were reacting to the meaning that settled behind it. And sometimes, the most honest repair begins when nobody rushes to erase that meaning. The room can be quiet again. But quiet and healed are not always the same thing. Sometimes the gentlest thing is simply letting the hurt be real long enough for care to finally reach it.